It's time to talk about some Aeon Trespass Odyssey. I figured, my friends and I actually finally were able to get together a little bit yesterday. I wouldn't say last night because we actually played all day. We actually got together yesterday to finally play some more Aeon Trespass Odyssey. We hadn't played since before the holidays. And that's when we first started the campaign, so it was super, super exciting. We decided to make it an all-day thing, so we got 9 hours of Aeon Trespass Odyssey in. And I was thinking, since I haven't actually started my solo campaign yet on the channel, don't worry, it is coming, I figured at least, just to get some content out there around Aeon Trespass Odyssey, I think maybe people might be interested to hear how our campaign is going, maybe compared to theirs, or maybe they're just curious and they haven't played the game and curious to see sort of how things are working in the game. And so I figured, let's just start a little series. Just call it State of the Campaign or something like that. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. You'll know by the title. And so I'll just sort of run through sort of where our group is at, sort of some of the things that have gone on. I won't be able to speak, of course, about every single thing because obviously there's a lot going on. Some of the story stuff happened before the holidays. We just can't remember what choices we've done. We definitely need to maybe take notes or something like that, but especially when you're playing 9 hours near the end of that, all of us were getting a little bit tired, I think. So obviously there's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't yet played the game, or maybe you want to save some of the information of cycle 1 for your second playthrough, then obviously just be wary of that. I'm not going to go too deep into spoilers, but mainly just talk about what we've received so far and some of the choices we've made, and sort of how some of the battles have gone. So nothing too crazy like that, none of the major story spoilers. So we are currently on day 19, I think it is, and we ended on day 19 yesterday. We actually got through, I think, 10 days. Funny enough, the very last session that we ended on was right when this little fella, the Hermian Pursuer, actually landed on our tile. And that's the cliffhanger that we left on, and I had to wait, 3-4 weeks to actually see how that fight turned out. And it actually turned out really, really well. We were a little bit worried because we took a look at some of the cards and stuff like that ahead of time, but it surprisingly went really, really well. We were rolling really, really well. We killed him, I think, in the 5 Titan rounds it took to actually get him down to the 5 wound mark. Since he's the adversary, one of the adversaries, he's essentially pursuing you, toying with you. You're not really meant to beat him at this point. And we encountered him on day 9 is when he caught up with us. So I don't know, because obviously it's sort of random. You could go very, very long lengths of time without even seeing him. But we ended up getting caught up around day 9. And yeah, we hit pretty much we wounded pretty much every single time on one of our turns. I think we only missed maybe 1 or 2 attacks. So and for the first level of the Pursuer, you only have to get him down to 5, or you only have to deal 5 wounds before he sort of runs off and he's done playing with you essentially. So it went really, really well. We actually critted on a special location to get a special weapon from him, which is really, really cool, which is proving to be fairly useful moving forward. So I'll talk a little bit more about that once we get into sort of our specific gear and stuff like that. But that's sort of our general state, I guess. We're doing really, really well in terms of, I think, just health-wise. We're still at 4 hull, we're still at 5 crew. We were at 6 crew for a fairly long time. I don't think we've ever dipped below 3 hull or 4 crew, to be honest. Our Argo ability limit still 2. We do have the technology in our project pile though to potentially raise that. I think we did just pick up a 3rd Argo ability, so I think we'll probably grab that next. We have almost max Titans. We have 9 out of 10. We still need to get Titan rearing, I think it is, to actually increase our Titan limit. But that's something that we've never had an issue with either, really. We actually haven't had too many Titan deaths, luckily. Some of the last couple of fights yesterday, we definitely took some of those numbers down to the lowest it's been, but I think the lowest we've ever been is 8 Titans. There's been a lot of times where we've gained Titans and we've just been full, so unfortunately they've just gone to waste. We only have 1 Argo Fate, which is great. We're at 3 Argo Knowledge, and we have 3 Strangers currently, which is a little bit high for my liking. This is the highest it's been Stranger-wise. we're also currently on story card 2A, and we found our first clue for that, so we're actually on the hunt for the proper map tile. And we are on Doom card 1B, so that did flip over yesterday. We're almost done 1B, so not really looking forward to that, but our story card is ahead of our Doom card in terms of numerical order, so hopefully that's a good thing. And yeah, I'll actually grab I have a little poster board with all of our map tiles on it that I found at the dollar store, which is like a perfect fit for the table size. Just sort of place the map tiles on and just move the map tiles off once we're ready to battle. I think it's a pretty easy system. And let me know what you guys do, because I'm curious as to what everyone's sort of system is into figuring out how to deal with the immense size of this board game. In terms of adventure tracks, we've gotten fairly far in one of them, Hidden in Plain Sight. We've gotten up to we've done 3 of those missions. We've only done 2 Plight of the People missions, but when we get back, that's immediately going to be the next thing that we do, because we've rolled for it already, but we just haven't done it. So we're going to need to do the 3rd mission for that. And we've only done 2 Man of Purpose missions. The rest we actually haven't rolled on yet, so I'm really curious to see what those missions are going to be like. In terms of diplomacy tracks, boy oh boy, our group is not very happy with how diplomacy is going. But I think that's the case for most games. Tea is good. Also, any Akira fans? Anyone like Akira? I actually had this made by one of my siblings for Christmas. They made it custom. Super fantastic. Super cool. Anyways, back on track. Diplomacy. We've sort of been role-playing in that we're not, even though we're obviously looking for Minos, we don't like the Minoans. We're already denounced with them. And we are at unfriendly with Labyrinthians. We killed one of their kids. Funny enough. That's actually where our one of my friends got the Blood on Your Hands Nemo's card. Is we took some interest in some children, some kids at the I think it was Gnosis. I think it was like one of the opening choices you can make. And yeah, it turns out they were ready for a fight. Turns out our fighting is better. And he killed a kid, a Labyrinthian kid, I think. So we're unfriendly with them. They're obviously, we think of them as sort of the enemy of this cycle, so we don't really like them. We like the Hornsworn though, and we're trying to be friendly with them, but boy, being friendly with anyone in this game seems very difficult. We've been trying to go towards every sort of Hornsworn related choice. It hasn't always turned out great for us. Some of the choices don't make a lot of sense sometimes. Sometimes we've chosen things that we would have assumed given us positive Hornsworn faction, and then it ends up taking away. So some of the choices are a little bit weird. Maybe we just haven't fully grasped sort of the relationships yet between the different factions, but either way, we're at neutral with them, with a +1 in that range. So we still need +3 diplomacy with Hornsworn to actually become friendly with them. Just the way the grid is set up though, because you start at 0 and it only takes 1 - 1 to get into unfriendly range, whereas you need +4 to actually get to friendly range. I think the game is just designed where you're not really meant to be able to be friends with everyone, or almost anyone really. I'd be curious to hear, let me know if any of you have actually ended up having relatively good relations with everyone. I don't think it's possible, just because you're always gaining or you're always losing relationship with someone while you're gaining with another faction. But I'm curious to see if anyone can maybe even get like 2 factions at friendly, or maybe even just keep 2 factions at neutral by the end of a cycle, because that seems even like an overwhelming task. But overall, I think our choices have been great. We unfortunately did not take the Minoan. Well, I wouldn't say unfortunately. I don't know if it actually would have led to anything bad. Also, please don't spoil it in the comments. But we didn't take the Minoan guide. We didn't trust her. But there have been a lot of references to, if you have the Minoan guide, do this or do that or go here. Also, we've been recently getting old spinner references. Don't know where that choice would have came up, but we also don't have the old spinner. Again, please don't spoil it. So we're probably missing out on a lot of stuff, but it also might have let us get away from a lot of heartache. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see in maybe my solo campaign playthrough. I'll probably take the Minoan guide, or you know, in our second playthrough as a group, if I haven't done that already. But yeah, we're on day 19, and in terms of gear, so if you look down, top down, whoo, fancy camera. Oh, also, obviously, new camera angle. You get to see all my fancy board games. I figure this is a little bit of a better camera angle, plus just the nature of my living area, having the table turned 90 degrees just provides more room on the sides for people to walk behind and stuff like that. I also do have a new black tablecloth. I think that'll be better for overhead shots because I looked at my last video and there's quite a bit of glare off of the wood. So I think that'll help with that. I think I'm gonna maybe invest in a proper mat though. This one slides around a little bit. So either I'm gonna have to clamp it down or maybe find a grip for underneath. But anyways, here we have our 4 characters. We chose Otis Zero, Penelope, Telebacus, and Cersegard. I have Telebacus, who's get a +1 to endurance. Right now I have the whale knives equipped. We recently just built those, so they're really, really nice. Pretty much just a better version of the Siren Teeth. We have some stuff in our storage. We have essentially 2 Siren Teeth, 2 Siren Shield. We never actually really used the Siren Shield. You know, having to spend 2 fate just to get block 1 can be pretty rough. When the last couple of fights we've actually had quite high fate. But being able to block 1 is really, really strong. We're a pretty offensive group, I think. We like to play pretty aggressively. I think inherently the game is a little bit more aggressive. But at the same time, we've been mainly more relying on our armor rather than like shields and stuff like that to actually help with that. So we finally got everyone equipped with decent armor though. Some of us were running with pretty much nothing and just using weapons. I think weapons in this game are more valuable than armor. Obviously, later on, I'm sure that'll change, and obviously, armor does provide a lot of utility. But at the same time, if you're not able to deal wounds and just get the fight going, like you are sort of a race against time in a sense, like you're not really meant to just outlast fights for a long period of time. Might be ways to do that later down the road in certain builds, but we definitely just want to kill things as fast as possible. So I'm controlling Telebacus. I have whale knives equipped. I got the we did actually get the ancient shell, so we were able to build the ancient siren panoply armor, which is fantastic. So the ancient siren panoply armor is super, super awesome. It's essentially just like the whale knives, a buffed up version of the panoply armor. So you get a armor dice to roll, but you can also pay a fate to reinforce 2 instead of 1. But it also increases your ambrosia limit, which we ran into a little ambrosia stuff, of course, with the pursuer. But I actually was super, super lucky. Both, I think 3 times in a row, I ended up going through the ambrosia. I was able to not get any. So that was super, super cool. In terms of Nemo's cards, I only have 1 Nemo's card, but I do also have the most progressed Nemo's card. I ended up getting Imprisonment. I apparently was, who knows, I still haven't completed all the breakthroughs yet, but I was in that jail cell, so mine was fairly depressing. But it's a really, really awesome ability, which allows me to actually have reduction in knockback, pushback, and then when I actually get to the 3rd one, whenever I get knocked back, I get to actually heal 1. I'm currently on level 2. I've gotten 6 Nemo's nodes, so actually 1 more node and I'll actually get to level 3, which is super, super cool because that'll be really, really helpful because we're just about to enter level 2 fights, which we haven't actually done yet. So, and I'm a little bit worried about old Hecaton knocking us off the map. Because we still prefer Hecaton. Labyrintharos is, with the labyrinths and stuff like that, I just don't think we have the experience. We didn't have enough time playing Labyrintharos to actually fully, because we've only played him once, I think once or twice. Might have been twice. And yeah, we still need to figure out how to deal with the labyrinths is better. Plus the fact that we don't have any support items that actually let us reflexively move yet is a big issue for us. So that's one of the main technologies that we're going to have to go for next. Because I know that going into level 2, being able to move around is going to be imperative. One of my friends is playing Penelope. She's got the ballista gun. She's sort of one-handing dual wielding 2 one-handed weapons. We got the ballista gun and the Kratos Copus. These are essentially just entry level stuff, so nothing too crazy there. I don't know if it's going to focus. Ballista Gun hasn't proved to be very good. I know it's probably not bad. I mean, it does give you a black dice, and you do get a red dice still, but boy, oh boy, it has not been working out for us. I think maybe it might be better on like a tanky character, because you do get an extra free break if you, or free extra power or whatever, if you are above 7 danger. So maybe it works better that way, but we also have been just missing a lot with it, so I guess that could be an issue. And then Kratos Copus, I think that's going to be our next upgrade, is getting her a better weapon. Because unfortunately Siren Teeth, which we have in the armory, is dual, or two-handed. And for Nemo's cards, she actually has the Someone Waiting card, as well as the Siren Survivor. But unluckily, all the adventures we've done so far, we actually haven't gotten any keywords for her, which she's not very happy about. So she's still at level 1 for both of these. I think she only has 1 Nemo's node towards Siren Survivor, but Siren Survivor essentially lets you discard condition tokens and cards later on. But you have to discard it at level 1 to actually get rid of a conditioned card. But it does let you get rid of condition tokens, which haven't actually come up really that much, unfortunately. Like Despair, for example, isn't a condition token. And then Someone Waiting is actually pretty good. Allows you to exhaust it and stand up. So that one actually is pretty useful. But yeah, those are Penelope's stuff. And Penelope is also Maze Touched. We now have 2 people who are Maze Touched. And speaking of the second one of my buddies is playing Otis Zero. Otis Zero has been a powerhouse in the last couple of fights. I think my friend rolled, out of the 5 or 6 dice, I think he rolled 4 crits. Insane. But it ended up winning us a shit ton of stuff. And he actually has our first Fated Nemo's card, which he drew yesterday, because he ended up getting a condition card for Dread, which if you survive by the end of the battle, I think it was actually in the Alpha Temenos fight, we actually ended up winning, luckily. Well, winning. We got out of there alive. And he survived with the Despair card in hand, so it gave him a Fated Nemo's card, and he got Honor Blind, which is not great if you're unfamiliar with how these work, if you haven't seen them yet. They work essentially like Nemo's cards. You can get nodes for them and upgrade them, but they always start you with a negative where until you complete it, you then flip it over and actually get a positive. So right now he actually can't enter the rear space of any primordial voluntarily, and he also gets -1 wisdom. But when he flips it over, he actually gets to reduce fate if he is in the rear space and attacks. So that's a really, really good one to work towards. You also do get 2 Fated Nemo's cards in addition to your 2 regular Nemo's cards. So that's pretty cool there. In terms of regular Nemo's cards, he has Minoan Heritage and a Dream You Hold. For his progress, he recently just got a Dream You Hold, so that one's not very far ahead, but that lets him... this one is really good. A Dream You Hold is really good. I think we got this off a story adventure. Titans that are adjacent to him get +1 precision. Super, super good. That's been a lifesaver in a lot of situations. As far as Minoan Heritage, he just got the first breakthrough for that, so he's at level 2. So he can actually, at 3 or more danger, he can exhaust it during movement to gain 2 extra movement and bypass, which means he can move through Titans. And then just inherently at level 1, he can exhaust it just to get +1 movement, but obviously level 2 is much better. And that gives him Wisdom and Courage as well. So super, super cool. Great for movement. He's one of our most offensive Titans or controllers, so works out well. He's also the one for the Inward Odyssey who got the Eopedon strain. So he's the first one who get an additional strain to his Titan, which I think isn't too much different. I believe the ranges on the Trauma are the same as the base Titans, the Dreamwalkers, but he gets an additional ability where he can, as a reaction, spend 2 fate, exhaust it, and move 1 space as a reflex. So he actually has an inherent ability to move as a reflex, so that's good. So it saves us 1 piece of gear that we have to get for him. In terms of other gear he's wielding, we just built the Eris Aulus, essentially to be able to pay fate, exhaust it, and gain the priority target token, because that'll help redirect Hecaton, I think, for when he's about to push someone off, because I'm pretty much going to be the tank. since I have reduction in knockback and stuff like that. But if I get pushed to the edge, this ability will let him turn Hecaton around, so maybe he won't actually end up attacking me. He's also been running the Boat Mace. This has been, I think, one of the best starting weapons I think you can get. Boat Mace has been an absolute beast in the early game. It's just super solid. +2, 2 power dice, so you're rolling 3 early game. And it has an inherent break 1. It's just a solid item, I think. And plus it's one-handed, which is the great thing. So you can actually use a shield with it. It's not a two-handed mace, which is very, very cool. So he's actually using the Shipbreaker shield at the same time, which has also been very useful. Because of how many crits he's been rolling, he's actually gotten crit evade so many times, which has just given us free opening tokens, which is super, super cool. And you get 2 free rerolls off your evasion roll. And then he has the regular Siren Panoply armor. And last but not least, we have our friendo here, Sir Sigard, who is wielding a shit ton of awesome gear. We gave him the Nail Spear. So this is the item that we got off the Hermian Pursuer, off the secret deck. We critted a level 1 BP card to actually get this. Super, super awesome. Has Reach 2, Reposition 2, Carving 1. But if you do bring it into the fight, you do disable the Toying Pursuer trait, because he's not very happy with us. But the big thing is, though, if you're at 7 or higher danger, you get access to the Heartseeker ability, which lets you, when you hit someone, or when you hit a Primordial, you get to look at the top 2 BP cards and choose one that you want to wound, which is awesome. Very, very useful. And then just stat-wise, it's great, because you can, assuming you get all hits, you get to roll 5 power dice. And then we just built him funny enough, off more Pursuer gear. We built the technology to build Pursuer items, and we built the Trireme Breastplate. Super, super strong. Just great reduction. You get to roll 2 armor dice, so potentially 2 reduction in damage, which, especially in the early game, sort of gets you ahead of that. And it's ascended, and it just provides an additional gear slot, or accessory slot, I think it is, which we don't have any currently. Or actually, Eris Olus is a accessory. And in terms of Nemo's cards, he's got A Night to Remember and Blood on Your Hands. So you killed the Labyrinthian Kid for this. A Night to Remember, I think he got fairly recently. But of course, when you are getting Nemo's nodes, you fast track the one whoever has the most nodes already in it. So he's only been getting experience for that. He recently just got the first breakthrough for Blood on Your Hands. So that is also a really great one. We actually should give Ares Olus to this guy. Because after you raise your rage for any reason, if your current rage is equal to the priority target's token rage, you can actually take it, so you don't have to go higher than that person's rage. But he's at level 2, so as long as he has 4 or more danger, if you are the priority target token, you get +1 precision, which is awesome. And then at 7 or higher danger at level 3, you get auto break 1 as well. So that's a pretty solid one as well. A Night to Remember, though, he doesn't have any experience on this, so he's at level 1, but essentially lets you exhaust this card to unexhaust a gear card, which hasn't really come into play. Obviously would have been nice for this thing to be on the person with the ballistic gun to get it unexhausted, but it is still nice to have. At level 2, at 4 or more danger, you're going to be able to exhaust it, and another Titan may unexhaust a gear card, and that one will be much more useful. So that is all of our gear. Overall, I think we're fairly happy with our gear. I don't know at what stage we should be at. I think we're a little bit behind. Maybe. I think we're a little bit behind. I think one of our characters definitely is a little bit under geared. The one with the ballistic gun. We definitely need to get her a proper melee weapon. But I think everyone else is fairly good. Again, the biggest thing is we need to build more support equipment. I think Lifeguard. I think it's the Lifeguard item. Where it allows you to reflexively move. That's going to be our biggest problem, I think, going into level 2 battles. Because we're going to be starting our next session with level 2 battles. But let's talk about this fella. We fought Alpha Temenos for the first time. And it went actually much better than I thought. But we had some super clutch. We had a super, super clutch moment. I died in the very first round. It was a very, very unfortunate. He attacked me. I ended up getting I had to instantly draw I think it was a major trauma card. Because I think it was a 4 damage per hit attack. I can't remember if it was either minor or major. I can't remember. I think it might be a major. But either way, it dropped a maze tile on me right away. And unfortunately, part of his attack as well, afterwards, he drops another labyrinth tile. And it was already in a way, just with the layout and stuff like that, where it double dropped labyrinth tiles on me. And in this fight, if you have double dropped labyrinth tiles on you, you'd instantly draw an obol card, and I lost the 50-50. So very first attack, I lost, and we lost a Titan. So at that point, we were very, very worried. So luckily, my friends are awesome rollers. They were able to damage and wound him at least once, I think, in the first round. But once we realized, oh, we're just getting a bunch of despair tokens right away, we realized we had to end it pretty quickly. I think they survived one more hit, and in the second round, my friend Byron, who's playing Guard, I think it was with Kratos Copies? I can't remember if it was with, I think it might have been with the Siren Teeth. I can't remember which weapon he used. Actually, no, it was with the Nail Spear, because he had the strongest weapon at that time, because the Nail Spear is like really, really good. But he actually crit. And funny enough, he crit on a level 1 BP card that, if he wounded, got counted as a double wound. And in the Alpha Temenos fight, you only need 3 wounds to survive the fight. So, of course, he did it. And that actually won us the fight there, which was huge, because I think Penelope and Oda Zero already had like 2 despair tokens on them. So luckily Guard hadn't been hit by despair yet, because that would have been it. I think once too much despair gets going, you just essentially fishing for 10s at that point. But yeah, it was a super, super sick moment. I think it's one of the best moments we've had in the game so far. And funny enough, like, some of the fights can go wildly different. Like, we also fought another level 1 Hecaton, and that we almost died. Like, we almost lost that fight. It was fairly close. I mean, maybe not super, super close, but it was closer than what we would have liked. And whereas the Pursuer fight, we ended that super quickly. It was super, super easy. We weren't as worried as we thought we were once we actually started getting into it. Obviously this is toying with us, and it's not like it's full power, but I think even level 1 of this compared to a level 1 Hecaton, I think this is still more difficult. So yeah, that was a super, super crazy moment. But yeah, that's sort of how things are going so far. We've had some really, really awesome moments. Yesterday was like such a fun time playing. I'm loving this game more and more. And I think it's definitely topped Kingdom Death Monster for me. I think this is right now my favorite big box campaign game. Not by much though. I think Kingdom Death Monster just sort of has a special place in my heart no matter what, because it's sort of one of the big games that sort of just got me deeper into this hobby and more interested in these types of games. So Kingdom Death Monster will always have a special place in my heart. Plus, games like this I don't think would exist if it weren't for something like Kingdom Death Monster, right? So, yeah, but this game is super, super fantastic. I'm very curious to see how the story is going to go. To be honest, I think we're not super focused on the story. I think there's just so many twists and turns and stuff like that. There's so many things to focus on, especially when you're jumping around different adventures and trying to keep track of certain things. We get the overarching goal, obviously, trying to find King Minos and stuff like that, but some of the more intricacy moments, nuanced moments, I think are a little bit lost on us, unfortunately. But I think it's sort of, you need to do multiple playthroughs to sort of fully get the story anyways. But yeah, that's going to do it. I mean, I'm just going to cut it here. I could go through our technology, but I don't think that's super necessary. I'll just go through it quickly. I'm not going to show every card. So if you have the game and you know of these technologies, you'll know what I'm talking about. But we recently just got Forced Kratos Reaction. We got Arrow Barrage, another Argo ability. We have Pursuer Sighting, Trireme Ranged Weapons, Trireme Armor, Trireme Weapons, Basic Support Equipment, which we need to build more of. Advanced Trireme Weapons. We have Siren Armor, Titan Hunting, Hope Logic, Shallows Navigation, Rhetoric, and Anti-Indoctrination Philosophy. So there's a lot of stuff that we still need to get. Our project deck is fairly huge. Obviously, we do have the larger ones as well. The only non-core one we have, though, I believe, is the Nymph one, which is you get off of a Inward Odyssey event, which is, we haven't had any use for it, but I mean, if we ever get to the Pursuer or something like that, and we need to like make a really big getaway, or if we need to get somewhere really quickly, the Nymph that we got will help sort of speed up the voyage phase a bit. But yeah, I'm not going to talk a little bit more now that we've hit the half-an-hour limit. I talked a lot longer than I expected to. I apologize for that, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you liked this little snapshot update. Oh, actually, before I go, I'll sort of show you what my poster board looks like. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so here is the poster board. So you can see the poster board is actually just a little bit smaller than the battle board, which is perfect. And this was like, I didn't even make this. This is the size it came with at the dollar store. And I just saw it one day and I was like, oh, well, that just could be a perfect fit. It's like sturdy poster board, so it's not flimsy or anything like that. It's very lightweight, easy to store. But here's our map so far. Gnosis is in the top left here. And we've sort of just zigzagged around, and then we're starting to go on the outskirts. Because I think there's a river entrance here that we're going to have to get to at some point. We're currently looking for our clue card tile, which we've only seen one with a clue symbol on it, but it's the incorrect one, unfortunately. So I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere around here. We'll see. But we're sort of just followed the outskirts, just because that way, once we need to move back this way, we can sort of get through unexplored tiles rather than having to backtrack through non-unexplored tiles, because we still want more progress, even though we're probably going to end up getting a bunch of doom as well. And we are currently on this tile, so yeah, we're just going to sort of zigzag our way back and forth, and hopefully make it out alive. But that is our campaign. That's the state of the campaign so far for my friends and I. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this. Let me know how your guys' campaign is going. If you're playing this game solo with friends, it's super fun watching the Discord and different posts and sort of seeing some of the differences in people's campaigns. So I'm really curious as to see what how people's games are going. Plus, let me know if we're behind. If there's any gear as well, like if there's any like really good gear that we might need for like a level 2 fight. Don't spoil anything major, but if it's like something like, you know, if you agree with me that like we should get more reflex move equipment, that kind of stuff, feel free to validate that in the comments below. But other than that, that's going to do it for this video. I don't know, again, the times that we get to play this are pretty far and few in between a lot of the time. I'm going to try to sort of get our group together at least once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks if we can, because of course we've got a bunch of other games to play and stuff like that. But I do also want to work on starting a solo campaign. I do want to sort out some help material and stuff like that first, to sort of make me multi-hand everything a little bit easier. I do have to figure out how I want to record it, because of course recording a big box game like this is a little more difficult than recording something like Final Girl. And then of course, as you saw from some of the other videos, I will be making content on other solo board games. As you can see here, I do want to make a video on Spire's End. This game is super fantastic, one of my favorite solo games. I do want to do more Final Girl. I recently, of course, if you've been checking out my Twitter, I just picked up the Arkham Horror card game. I got the core box only, but I'm going to go and pick up the Dunwich expansion, I think, and maybe we'll start a campaign at that. And what else? I have Aeon's End, probably going to do that. We got Too Many Bones. Don't know when I'm going to play that again next, because I got so many other things I want to play. And then you can sort of see in the over there, I do also have a bunch of tabletop role-playing games that I don't think, of course, I can really make videos on, but I think I might share some of my thoughts on some of my favorite ones I've played so far, like the Alien RPG and the Cyberpunk RPG and stuff like that. So yeah, that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new and you want to keep up to date with my Aeon Trespass Odyssey travels, definitely hit the subscribe button, but it would really mean a lot if you all checked out some of the other videos as well. I know most people are here because of Aeon Trespass Odyssey. Those are obviously the most popular on my channel, but it would mean a lot if you checked out some of the solo board games. You don't have to check out all of them, but if you do have any board games that you would like me to check out, I would love to check them out for you. And then also, if there's any solo board games that you see on the channel pop up, hey, just give it a look. Would really appreciate the support. And yeah, that's going to do it. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and take care.